Yeah, I thank you. Some really good, useful contributions from the floor, from the panel. And you know, you'd be forgiven for thinking, well, why is this being considered? Well, the simple reason is that the corporations want it considered. And if you look at the coalition government, actually, that's why they want it considered as well, because they think the corporations will do well out there, and so will the corporations. So do the corporations think that. The truth is that trade is not the story. Trade is only part of it, and the Greens in the European Parliament have long argued for fair trade and not free trade. Now, TTIP is shrouded in mystery. It's the largest bilateral trade deal in the world. And you know, what actually is at risk is that laws which were hard fought for in Europe are vulnerable under this investor-state dispute settlement mechanism. And let me just explain these secret courts. The purpose of those courts is to judge whether or not investments have been damaged. It's nothing to do with laws. It's nothing to do with people. It's about the corporation's investment being damaged. It does not exist at the moment. So this would be new, and it would be secret. And this is risking every environmental, social, employment legislation there is, if it can be argued that it's damaging the investment. Vattenfall in Germany, the Swedish company Vattenfall, are suing the German government for deciding it doesn't want nuclear power, and they're suing them for £3.7 billion. And this is a properly elected government taking a properly constituted decision, yet a corporation is seeking £3.7 billion redress. So, you know, the reasons to object to TTIP keep adding up. It's going to have a huge impact, potentially, on the food industry, not least because the agribusinesses and food lobby has been by far the biggest supporters of TTIP so far, trying to shape the deal. On food quality, you know, in America they bleach chickens, don't they? Well, they shoot horses, don't they? It's the name of the film. But actually, in America, they do bleach chickens, and they feed hormones to beef. And under the European end of this, would we have to accept those? And I think that a case would have to be made that we shouldn't. We look at the way that GMOs are used in America. 70% of foodstuffs in America actually have got a GMO element. Now, how are we going to split that up if we actually try to resist in Europe the onward march of GMOs, whereas it will be coming in from America willy-nilly? We mentioned the NHS, and I've just given David here a letter last week from Commissioner Armstrong, the new commissioner, who's written to Lord Livingstone, trying to reassure him that NHS is safe from TTIP. So I'm waiting for an expert feedback on that. So we do have to also consider the possibility of a ratchet clause, so that once agreements have been made about services, then it's like a ratchet, you can't reverse it. And that is awfully worrying. So I think what we need to do is to combat it at every turn. I pay tribute to the work of 38 Degrees and WDM and others. As your member of the European Parliament, one of them, I have to tell you the European Parliament gets a yes vote or a no vote. And I can tell you now, the Greens and the far left, the GUI group, will be voting no. If this TTIP includes ISDS, we're really also concerned about the regulatory coherence, about these non-negotiable issues, and also other public services. The rapporteur for the Parliament is an MEP, Bern Lang, and he's from Annalise's group, S&D, Socialist and Democrats. And to say that he's dancing on the head of the pin, I don't think is too harsh a statement. S&D have been fairly vocal in their opposition, but when he's written in his report last week that he says, well, investors can seek redress without the new special cause, but it states the need for a reflection process between EU institutions on how best to reform ISDS. Now, investor protection exists throughout the EU through the domestic courts. So what we're saying is leave it like that, don't have a new body which is unaccountable, which is secret, and that is the biggest, I will be voting against it. And I think Annalise has also said, I'm your biggest fan, you know. You've said you will not vote for a deal which looks to threaten the NHS or to extend the reach of secret courts. Well, secret courts don't exist.
They do in a lot of trade deals, unfortunately.
Okay, well, okay, fair enough.
Already.
Oh, well, so anyway, we'll all be, I mean, I know that I'll be absolutely straight. I'll be saying I'll be voting against it. I'll be voting no. If it's got any element of ISDS in it. So I think what we're doing is we're trying to support 38 degrees, and I've got a delegation from the WTM coming over next week. We've got to work to build a momentum ahead of national elections. Politicians will easily sort of hide behind the oh, well, it's good for jobs argument, where we know it's not. We need to make sure that politicians understand that people care, and it's important to them, and they will not vote for things they don't want to see. Look at what's happened last weekend in Greece. People did not want to see it. People did not want to see further austerity. And they voted against that. So what we need to do, we need to realise the power that people have got and actually make the arguments and make the votes accordingly. So I have got a new report out on TTIP. It looks like that, only colourful. And I think it's at the back of the room, so please
there it is, back of the room.
Back of the room. Please take a copy, and I look forward to helping, if I can, with any questions. So thank you for having me.